Quarantiki number 95. So sometime in March. Oh my gosh, we could hit. Does timing work out? Do we hit 100 while we're in Vegas?
Let me look.
It should be close, I'm thinking. So anyway, welcome to Quarantiki number 95. This is happening on Super
No,
Bowl
99 while we're in Vegas.
99 in Vegas.
100 when we get home.
So close, so close. Anyway, welcome. Quarantiki 95 game day. So this is happening on Super Bowl Sunday. For those of you that are tuning in because you don't care about Super Bowl Sunday, or because you have nothing better to do, or just because you want to get in a couple of cocktail ideas before the game, welcome. So this is not our usual time. We're usually about 2 hours later than this. So,
We have an Amanda and a Gray.
Super Bowl Sunday is always a good time to start drinking early, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to work? And I did start drinking early because I had some vague ideas of what I was going to do for cocktails this evening, but yeah, I was mixing cocktails up until about 40 minutes ago, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And the drink that I'm going to do for the Rams. So, in case you don't know, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams, yes, they're back in Los Angeles, are playing for the Super Bowl this year. They're playing in SoFi Stadium, which is in LA. So, this is only the second time it's ever happened that a home team is playing for the Super Bowl in their, obviously, in their home stadium. So, we're going to do a drink for the Bengals. We're going to do a drink for the Los Angeles Rams, and we're gonna have some fun. The Rams drink I haven't even tested yet. I have confidence it'll work. I hope. I hope. I really hope it'll work. The Bengals drink. I don't know about the Bengals drink. It did not go the way I planned it. I had great ideas for garnishes, and then I went, wait, how am I actually going to accomplish that garnish? And I had to call up a couple of bartender friends, and they gave me ideas, and then I put together the drink, and I tried to do various tests, and even down to like using a stencil to get like stripes in there for the Bengal tigers, and let's just say that didn't work out quite the way I was hoping it to, hoping it would.
You even consulted an expert.
I consulted multiple experts, yes. So we usually start with a toast. It would be bad form to toast either team and take sides this year.
It's Lily's birthday.
So, oh, right, it is Lily's birthday. Yay, Lily.
Lillian.
Lillian. Shout out to Robin, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. You know who you are. If you know us, you may know who they are.
Yeah. I don't know. We've talked earlier about doing a.
Oh, right. When we did the
The
cocktail
101
classes
for
right?
my niece.
Right.
So my niece Lillian's birthday is today.
So what are we going to toast with? Well, we're going to combine a toast with the tasting. How's that?
Oh, okay.
So here is my typical bottle of Angostura. I have the standard, normal, kind of ordinary 1919, 40% alcohol, slightly aged Trinidad and Tobago column still rum. Very much in the Puerto Rican or Spanish style, right?
And I didn't realize that Angostura rum and Angostura bitters are made by the same people.
Yeah. Yep. Same people,
I didn't know
same
that.
factory. In fact, it's all made on premises. I did it again.
Oh,
didn't
you
I do?
did not open before the.
Correct. Fortunately, that shouldn't be a problem.
Nothing is circle.
So the 1824 is also 40%. It is, as I understand, a different blend of rums
Okay.
from them. So coming off of the different stills that they have there, and aged slightly longer. And you can tell there is a difference in darkness between these two.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is not entirely coming off of caramel coloring, and that some of this is at least aging in the barrel. So we can toast to Lillian. Happy birthday. I can't tell if this has orange notes or not because my hands are covered with orange zest. Oh, that's a delightful column still rum. What does that note?
Mm,
There's something there that reminds me of tobacco,
there is.
which I don't normally get off the 18th after the
Yeah.
1919.
Yeah.
No, that's distinctly tobacco.
Yeah.
That's I have memories. I don't even remember where we were. We were watching people roll cigars. You remember that? Is that on the cruise that we took, the
In
ships and
Jamaica?
dip?
Or, I don't know, somewhere.
But that smell of the fresh tobacco, yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
get that.
okay. So I'm noticing on the board that Aperol is an ingredient today. And I used one of my Lush bath bombs today, which is
Oh,
their orange.
I get none of the
Thing.
tobacco off the
Yeah.
1919.
Yeah.
And the price points are different. This is a higher price point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would sit down and sip this.
No, it's not.
I would sit down and
This
sip
is
this.
a mixing.
I like
for us,
this.
yeah.
Is now I would make cocktails with this,
Mhm.
but I use higher end rums.
Yeah.
Um,
But the bath bomb
yes,
made the bath water look like Aperol.
it did. It was bright orange.
Yeah.
It was a little thicker than Aperol.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But it was quite nice, and I felt like I was in an Aperol spritz.
which was a little bubbly because we have the jacuzzi tub, which
Yeah.
was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. It was fun.
That was really something. My skin is just
Yeah, it's still
loving it.
soft.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll post which one it is for you Lush addicts.
I thought about doing. Sorry about the Thought about doing Miami Dolphins jersey or
Mhm.
something. I've got a couple of Miami
That
Dolphins
is very nice.
Aloha shirts,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't because
They aren't playing.
they aren't playing, and well, I needed a reason to show off my Christmas present, which is a Cthulhu sweater, right? And it's like, here's the front end, which got the picture of Cthulhu on the front, and it's got the lettering across the back, and then you've got back tentacles on this, like very cool, very awesome. It was
It's got arm tentacles.
It's got arm tentacles coming down. It was supposed to be really cold out today. We had snow earlier today, so it was supposed to be really cold. So I'm like, yeah, I can wear a sweater. And it's kind of cold, sort of. Unfortunately, the basement, when it gets cold outside, the basement gets really warm. So I may end up sweating the rest of this show. I don't know. But anyway, so Cthulhu, right? Why not? Because there are other things Cthulhu-esque that I wanted to point out before we get into drinks. So Sandy Peterson is a game designer who wrote the original role-playing game Call of Cthulhu, and since then he's done a number of Cthulhu and Lovecraft-related games. One of those is Cthulhu Wars, which has these very large cast, resin and plastic cast creatures that you move around on the map board. It's fairly large. It's intended as a multiplayer game. It can play 2, but it's much better with 3, 4, sometimes 5 players, sometimes 6. The figures are fairly large, though, and that game takes up a lot of time. And as a consequence, they decided they wanted to do something that was a little smaller, a little easier to do, and so they created Cthulhu Wars Duel, and they've released, so this is entirely a 2-player game, takes less time to play, the rules are about the same, maybe slightly simplified, but this week I took possession of a second version of Cthulhu Wars Duel. This is the Extinction pack, which has 2 different elder races in it that are fighting against each other. And one of the things they did for the duel, so that you don't have all of these great big pieces lying around and needing a massive board, is instead of, if I can find it, instead of having the resin cast, they just did cardboard pieces, right? See, cardboard with stands, right? So it's a little less impressive to play visually, but it's still kind of cool, and it's a nice way to carry a version of Cthulhu Wars with you that doesn't take up a massive amount of room, because I've got an entire bookcase devoted over here to Cthulhu Wars. There are a variety of other expansion packs that can be done with Cthulhu Wars Duel, and so we got another one of those. When I say that their casts are large, some of them are very, very large. And I did take possession this week of Haster Rising, which is unusually large in terms of its size. Yes, this is a single game piece. It does occupy multiple portions of the board, but so yeah, you can tell the gruesome little details on this, but yeah, this is a game piece as big as my head, or bigger than my head, right? So I mean, this is pretty massive stuff. Here's King in Yellow, Haster himself. It's just amazing stuff. It looks very cool when you're playing it. It tends to draw it's an attraction. It draws attention. People come to it and like, what are you playing? And then you tell them, and then they go, how much does this cost? And then they walk away, because yeah, it's a little bit on the expensive side. So I took possession of a bunch of Cthulhu stuff. I think what happened is a freighter finally came in from China, and Peterson Games was finally able to ship some stuff out. That's been a perennial problem over the last 2 years, as you might expect. But that's not the big thing that's happening. The big thing that's happening is the Super Bowl, so I should get on with making a cocktail, right? That seems like the thing to do. Oh, apparently I'm parched. That's a bad thing. Okay, so the other day I was watching one of the various cocktail shows that I watch. And yes, someday we are going to do a, hey Pooch, what do you watch? And we'll do like snippets from other shows and that sort of thing. But in this case, they were doing a Valentine's drink called Capone's Kiss. And I went, oh, Capone's Kiss, that has Aperol in it, and it's got rye. And it's kind of like an Aperol Manhattan-esque thing going on. And I went, oh, that's an interesting idea. Wait a second, the Bengals colors are orange and black. Aperol's orange. I should do something with Aperol. And so today I was playing around with Aperol and rum and rye and various different things and trying to get the garnish right. And I'm not sure we're there yet, but we're going to give this a try. So this is inspired by the drink cocktail Capone's Kiss, which has nothing to do with Cincinnati. And I call it Here Bengal Bengal, because Bengal tires are kitties, right? That sort of thing. So this is, it is a shaken drink, but it uses a reverse dry shake because we are going to use egg white. For the garnish for this, I want to have a foam on top so I can work with that foam a little bit. And so as a consequence, in order to get enough foam, I actually need the egg white. And you could use various other things to try and get the foam, but I keep coming back to egg white. I keep finding that it works really, really well for me. So shake and drink. Shaky, shaky, shaky. So what are we going to do? All right, hear this. We need a sweet...
Coach says it's 33 degrees out now.
It is 33 degrees out? Oh, wow, so it's dropping. Yay! So maybe I won't melt. Who knows? We did replace the screen door with the glass door, so we're not actually getting a lot of cool air through, but that's okay. I seem to be doing fine. We'll see how the shaking goes, right? How's that? We're going to start with a half ounce of syrup, and in this case what I'm using is the pineapple oleosaccharum. In the Capone's Kiss, it was a half ounce of a simple syrup infused with thyme, but our drink is going in a way different direction, so about the only thing that's still the same is the fact that we're using Aperol, so I'm not too worried about mixing around with different syrups, right? So we're going to use some oleo, so half ounce. Oh, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, I believe this is the first week that I'm trying to do this show with a brand new pair of eyeglasses. Oh, so I don't have the round-rimmed eyeglasses. In fact, these are a little more rectangular. They're still kind of roundish, but they're a little more rectangular. They are still progressives, which is strange because the length from the top of the progressive to the bottom of the progressive is less than it was on my previous lenses, and I'm still so not used to that. Half ounce lemon juice, blind lemon. Baby Elephant Walk is playing. Oh. Star, when you get a moment, could I get you to take the Cthulhu Wars stuff off of the bar?
Yes.
Just in case. you know, as I go flying all over the place with Aperol or something. Now, this is a, can you get there? I can pass it to you. How's that? Got it?
Got it.
If the camera goes wonky, it means she's, you know, hit the camera. Ah, King in Yellow, or Hastur. This is the latest edition. This is fresh squeezed orange juice. I have not done this version with a ½ ounce of the orange juice, but I think it's a necessary component given the flavor profile of the last one that I tried. I tried everything. I did a version of the Manhattan with a little Aperol added in place of the vermouth. I did it as a stirred drink, and then I tried doing a foam on top of that, and it totally didn't work. I was going to do this as a flip, so I was going to use a whole egg, and when I use the whole egg, drink becomes a cocktail, but I was going to do flip because the Cincinnati Bengals flipped their record, essentially. They went from being one of the worst teams in the league to being one of the best teams in the league in a year's time, which was, you know, pretty amazing. And my egg whites are in the refrigerator in the back. Okay, so that's going to be a pain. I have to go get those or send my wife to get those. They are in one of these in the refrigerator. I think they're on the top shelf. We need 1 ounce of Aperol, an aperitivo, slightly bitter, very orangey. Well, kind of orangey. I mean, it's not like triple sec orange curacao orange, but it is a much brighter reddish orange, which goes much better for the Bengals in terms of the color scheme. And then we need, the original drink required rye, and I tried for a while to do rye, and then I tried a rye and rum blend, and neither of those gave me the flavor profile that I wanted. So I tried it with just using a blended, lightly aged rum. That would be rum OFTD, which worked really, really well, or at least reasonably well. So I think the blended aged rum is the way to go. The problem with the OFTD is it's overproof, and I think the overproof just takes it in a direction maybe we don't want to go. So we don't need the overproof for this cocktail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch up and go from the OFTD to another blended, lightly aged rum, and that is the Denizen 8-year. Denizen 8. It is not 8-year. Oh yeah, it is. Aged 8 years. Yeah, okay. What do you know? 8 years. So we're going to do 2 ounces of the Denizen. The OFTD was good, very nice flavor, but it just seemed a little more burny than what I wanted. Does that make sense? Burny, like burn, flames kind of burn. Then we need a ½ ounce of egg white. And what I'm going to do is I have some egg whites that I've already separated out here in this cup. Been keeping them in the fridge for a little bit. I'm just going to take a little whisk that up just a tad. Look at that snot. Yay. Woohoo. We're going to go ½ ounce of egg white. There we go. 1/2 ounce egg white. Now we're going to have to clean that jigger before we do anything else with it. Next up, we're going to put some bitters in here. In the original Capone's Kiss, the drink was shaken and then strained into a glass over a single large rock, and then they used some chocolate bitters and some orange bitters. I'm going to go ahead and keep the bitter components, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in right now instead of adding them to the end where they'll sit on the foam, and that would just be not what I want. So I am going to go with 3 dashes of chocolate bitters. This is embitterment chocolate bitters. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go with the Bitterman's Oaxacan Mole bitters, which will add a little bit of a chocolate flavor and a teensy amount of heat. Not anything that is going to worry my wife at all. And then 1 dash, just one, of, well, you know, we've been drinking Angostura this evening, so let's do some Angostura bitters to go with that. We're going to go single dash of Angostura orange bitters. So there you go. 1 dash Angostura orange bitters. the egg white, the rum, the Aperol, the lemon juice, and the pineapple oleo. All we're missing here is some ice. So let's grab a scoop full of ice. Here we go. All nice and dandy. Lid that up. We're going to shake this. That is plenty cold. You're wondering at this point, wait a second, dude. You have an egg white in there. Why didn't you do a dry shake? Well, that's because I'm going to do the dry shake now. Just relax, chill. We've got this. So what I'm going to do here is just this. We're going to pour this off back into the other half of the shaker tin. The drink is plenty cold at this point. But because the ice is in here, the ice is blowing holes through the foam and making it very hard to create a big, heavy foam. You can tell there's a little foam on there, but not really what we want. So then I'm going to just throw that out. Come back here. We're just going to lid this up. Now, because it's cold, I don't actually have to worry about this blowing apart on me like you would if you did it with the dry shake first when all the ingredients were, in fact, room temperature. We're going to do this 20 to 30 seconds because I want a pretty good foam on this. 10. 20. Let's call it good there. All right, so there we go. That goes here. I'll put that into a rocks glass. I am going to strain this, but I'm going to pull the strainer way back on this because I still want the foam.
Greg says, what is a dry shake?
You just saw the dry shake. The dry
Shake without ice.
It is a shake without ice. There we go. So you can tell it's kind of orangey. It's full up to the top. I'm going to let this sit, and what will happen is the foam will separate out a little better from the rest of the cocktail. In the meantime, I can pour the rest of that into here. Yeah, as it turns out, I needed a slightly larger glass for this. How about if I do this? We'll get all messy. That can go there. There we go. That looks much better. Yep. All right. So you're not going to be able to see the orange as well. Wait, yeah, there you go. There's a spot. You can see where the foam starts. Right. You ideally like a little darker orange, but this will, in fact, darken up as the foam rises to the top, as it all separates out. The air comes up to the top. So what are we going to do now? Because, well, it's an orange drink with some foam on top. That's not very Bengals-esque. Bengals are black and orange, kitty cats, that sort of thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, and originally what I was going to try to do was do a cocoa powder dusting, which turns out very bitter and really hard to get good stripes on it. So then I tried to do like chocolate syrup, and I did chocolate syrup like running around in swirls inside the glass, and it came out way too chocolatey and way too sweet, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. But the chocolate syrup itself was too thick to actually lie on top of the cocktail, so I couldn't do that either. I tried just grating some chocolate, actual chocolate, on top of it. That didn't work either, so I was like, what am I going to do? I was thinking also of, after like doing the cocoa powder, I would just do strips of orange peel, which I thought would look really neat, and it would, except then I thought, yes, but when you're taking a drink of this, all of the orange peels are going to like slide towards your mouth, and you're just going to wind up with these long strips of orange peel in your mouth, which would be, I think, really unappealing. So what are we going to do in order to achieve this coloration? Well, I know it's entirely off-brand, but I happen to have this ingredient on my back bar that I really love using because it's so amazingly yummy. It's fig molasses, and it's this really dark color. And the thing that I noticed in one of the various experiments is that it floats very nicely on top of the foam. And I can just do lines of this across this vaguely orange foam. Like such. And then take a cocktail skewer, which I have plenty over here, and I can just run along the edges of this to make some nice stripes in this. It doesn't really change the flavor a whole lot because the fig molasses is in such a small proportion here. I think I need a little more on the edge here. Need one more stripe. There we go. Do that. And then I want a little more orange on this in terms of coloration. So what I did was I grated some orange peel earlier, and I am just going to drop some orange peel on top of this, which I know it doesn't really look all Bengalsy because it's not solid orange and black striping, but still I think it's kind of cool looking. It's vaguely reminiscent of the colors of the Bengals, and you'll note that it has in fact separated out, and that is a much better Bengals-ish orange that's there. I can, not sure, I can come around from the bar. I don't know if you can see, there you go, maybe tilt it this way, you can see sort of the striping and the oranges on there.
I can also move the camera.
Yeah, we can do that. So
we can release the camera.
we can do this, right? So there's your striping across the top. Not exactly what I had hoped for, but still, not too bad. We do that, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Move that back.
Yep.
There we go. All right. So there we go. There we go. There is the here Bengal, not a flip, although the flip would have been nice, but the flip changes the color and consistency of the cocktail. This becomes a really pale orange instead of the kind of darker orange. So this has got the orange juice added to it, and there's significantly more of the fig molasses. So we'll give this a try. We'll see what the wife thinks. She was not enamored of the very first.
That's much better than the
First
very
drink?
first drink. The first drink tasted sort of like a flat orange
Julius.
Julius, but you smelled cocoa and there was no chocolate taste. And so it was like, I'm very confused by that drink.
Ha ha! Fooled you. You're
this
not.
Is,
This is
this
much
I
better.
would drink, yeah.
You would drink this? All right.
Yeah.
Are you getting the? Are you getting any of the fig flavor from the molasses? Is it
A
just-
little bit when I lick my lips after the
Yeah,
foam.
yeah, because I
but-
noticed that she had like molasses on the lips, which or on yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a much better drink.
Yeah.
It's not at all chocolatey. There's no chocolate component other than the chocolate bitters, which
But you're not expecting
You're not
chocolate
expecting
from
it.
the smell.
and I think
so-
maybe on the very far end of the finish, because that's usually where chocolate bitters come in. At the very end, you go, wait, is that chocolate? What? And I think people looking at this would go, are those stripes of chocolate in there? And they're not. What is that flavor?
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I think that works.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a here kitty kitty or
Here
Bengal
Bengal.
cocktail. So
Yeah.
for those of you that are Cincinnati fans, I think this is a much better cocktail than the ones that I've seen for the Bengals, one of which used beer and Cincinnati style chili to concoct something that was vaguely esque like a what's the morning drink? Well, a Bloody Mary, but using Cincinnati style chili. I could grate some cinnamon over it, which would be Cincinnati style, but no, I think this works. This is a very nice little drink. It's pretty spirit forward, but not badly so. as is noticed by the fact that the wife has carted it off, and she's not a big fan usually of the Spirit Forward stuff. I think
Amanda says, what about grilling the orange peel to get black stripes on them?
So sprinkle the orange peel over the top, and then take the torch and go over them.
Or taking the orange peels and grill them.
I could grill the orange peels, but then I'd run into the same problem of having orange peels, thin strips of orange peel in the cocktail that get in people's mouths. And, I don't want people pulling out strips or strings of orange peel, or, frankly, any peel, hopefully not plastic peel, from their mouths while they're drinking my cocktails. So, all right, so we're about at the halfway point. We've made a cocktail. We've talked about the Trinidadian rums, very, very similar to Puerto Rican style rums in most cases, although I think they have slightly more character to the traditional like Bacardi kinds of things. And turns out we really like the 1919 significantly better than the 1824, but you use them for different things. If you were to use the 1824 in a cocktail, that's a high-end cocktail. Using the 1919 is a pretty straightforward, yep, that's fine. Not a problem. Okay, so we're going to set aside the egg whites. No more egg white because, well, unless we decide we want to do another one of those cocktails later this evening. These are all messy. That was the other trick here, is that I didn't want to waste a lot of alcohol this evening trying to put together cocktails, so I was making half versions of the cocktails to taste, which meant I had no real idea of how large the cocktail was going to be. I should have done a little basic addition and figured that out, and then I would have gone with the right glass the first time. So the reverse shake, worth talking about that for a moment. So traditionally, if you're using egg white, the rule is to combine all the ingredients except the ice, and then shake, build up a nice foam, then throw in some ice, and shake again. And then you strain that out, so you don't get the ice in the cocktail. And generally that seems to work pretty well, and it saves a step where you're not pouring off the ice. However, a couple of things. One, I think you get a better and more stable foam if you do the dry shake after. And secondly, you aren't risking blowing your shaker apart, because like I said, your shaker comes together because of the vacuum effect of having the cold liquid in there. So if you start with ice and shake it, your shaker holds together. You pour out the ice, or pour off the cocktail, throw the ice away, pour it back in. You have a cold shaker, you have cold liquid in there. As you shake it again, you still get that vacuum effect. So as a consequence, your shaker holds together. You don't have to worry about trying to shake something that has no coldness in it, and therefore might blow apart on you, which would be really troublesome if you've just thrown on a brand new sweater, for instance, and you wind up with egg white all over it. Yeah, that would not be good. We did in fact see a cocktail program today where the individual went through and did a pretty standard New York sour, and with that New York sour they did no dry shake before, and then a reverse dry shake. And yeah, the reverse dry shake produced a smoother drink and produced a thicker and more stable head of foam on it. So you'll see me doing most of the time the reverse dry shake, unless I've forgotten something. Okay, so now we hit intermission between the cocktails. We've talked a little bit about the technique of dry shaking. So this is halftime, I guess. This is halftime. I'm not sure what the wife is coming up to doing. Maybe, I don't know. We've already got music playing, so I don't know what would... She's got a pillow. What? Oh!
It's the puppy bowl! Woo!
Okay, except that doesn't work because most of the time the wife is watching the puppy bowl until halftime, then comes out to watch the halftime show and then goes back to watching the puppy bowl, right? So that's for all the...
I'm just being silly.
Just being silly, but it's cute. It's cute anyway. For our halftime show, I thought I would talk a little bit about this book. So this is also a new addition to the library. This is Detroit Tiki. And what this does is it takes you through the history of tiki bars, tiki cocktails, tiki lounges, etc. in Detroit, in the city of Detroit. Now, what many people don't realize is that certainly within kind of the 60s, early 70s, tiki was huge in the United States.
Ours is Sonic.
Every major city you could go to, and a lot of the smaller cities, had a tiki bar or two, or had architecture or motels that were tiki or Polynesian themed. America was just astounded with all things Polynesian. Thor Heyerdahl and his expeditions, surfing competitions were a thing. They were broadcast on worldwide sports. So we tend to forget how ubiquitous it was. When you start looking at these kinds of books that go through the history of it in a major city, it sort of brings back and lets you know, oh, this is how it was done. I mean, you think of Detroit. Detroit's a pretty blue-collar, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a tiki city. But there were some very serious tiki meccas in Detroit, and this book takes you through their history. Oh, and by the way, mine's signed. But that's neither here nor there. I've never met the author. But the other nice thing is this has a bunch of pictures and pictures of memorabilia from the various and sundry bars, match covers, swizzle sticks, mugs, full blueprints for various of the restaurants. Last chapter is devoted to the Trader Vic's that used to be there. It is no longer there. Anyway, I think isn't this intended to be a series?
So there are a number of towns
that have books like
that
this.
have similar books.
Right. We have, in addition to this one, we have a different book, different publisher, but it's San Diego and takes you through the history of tiki within San Diego and a little bit in the Tijuana area, because that's pretty much, you can't separate the two. And I just find it fascinating reading through these things. Vaguely history fan, very much a nostalgia fan, very nostalgic about these things. And so, it's very interesting to take a gander through that book. And, they're not terribly expensive. The authors have done their research. So
there's currently a California tiki and an Ohio tiki.
California tiki, Ohio tiki, Detroit tiki. There's a San Diego tiki. They're not all the same series. I think the first three are, but yeah, it's just interesting. And the Detroit tiki does not have, I think there might be one tiki cocktail recipe in there, but it's a pretty standard recipe. It's like how one of the tiki meccas used to do this particular drink. But the San Diego tiki drink is a drinky book. Drinky book has a number of different cocktail recipes in it. And we've made a number of them here on the show, in fact. There have been a couple from the bar Kindred in San Diego that is very, very definitely sort of a dark tiki and horror mythos kind of thing, which is, definitely right up there with Lovecraft cocktails and where we're going. So there you go. I would highly recommend, if you're interested in learning about tiki, especially from the city that you have any attachment to, go out there and look. The history books of tiki in your town are probably available. Speaking of towns, Los Angeles happens to be one, and it's hosting the Super Bowl, and one of their two football teams happens to be in the Super Bowl this year. That's right, LA is actually home to two football teams, not like any of you care. Home to the Rams that used to play in St. Louis, played in LA before that, and they are also home to the San Diego Chargers, who used to play in LA, then played in San Diego, and now are back to playing in LA. But I think you can all see where the LA fans' loyalty is going to lie, because, well, the Rams are actually in the Super Bowl and the Chargers, they are not. So, what are we going to do for the Rams? Well, I'm going to call this the Rams Kupp. And this is, we're spelling this with a K, K-U-P-P, because Cooper Kupp is a brilliant receiving star for the Los Angeles Rams. He won the trifecta this year, which is most receiving catches, most receiving yards, and I believe most receiving touchdowns for a single wide receiver this season.
David says at halftime he wants a costume failure.
Yeah, you're not getting a costume failure from me. Sorry, David. It's not happening. Or if so, it's going to happen from here down and you're not going to see it. So, oh no, my sock fell off. How's that? Will that work? Will that suffice for their halftime failure? No? Okay, well, tough. That's what you're going to get. Okay, so the Rams Cup. The Rams Cup is inspired by a classic tiki drink called the Marlin. The Marlin is a blue drink, and the Rams colors are blue and gold. So we're going to see if we can do this. The way the Marlin is pictured in the Total Tiki app is it is in one of these kinds of glasses. One of these, right? Except that it has no banding on it, so it's all clear. And it is blue to about here, and then it is filled with crushed ice, which is sort of a pale blue, and then there's garnish sitting on top of it. So what we're going to try to do this evening is we're going to use a slight similar glass, but not quite the same. Ta-da! We're going to use one of these, right? So more like a snifter than the old-fashioned. But we're going to try to do the same effect. We're going to go blue, crushed ice, but across the top of this, we're going to put a coating of yellow for the Rams, and then I've got some ram's horn garnishes over here that we've done with lemon peel. So that's the plan. So the drink is the Marlin, but switched a little bit. The Marlin has orgeat in it. I love orgeat, but I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to just do a Marlin with a yellow top on it. So we're changing this up a little bit. I also think the coconut will go better with the yellow chartreuse that we're using as a topping for this. So what are we going to do? We are shaking this cocktail. We need a ½ ounce of lime juice. This would be lime juice. Someday I'm just going to have to get dedicated bottles for my lime and lemon and orange juice and that sort of thing. Right now these are my sort of typical standard bottles. I used to serve cocktails in these during the COVID times when people would come to pick up their cocktails. And now I just use a couple of these that are marked 2, 4, and 6 ounces on them. This is lemon. Currently holds lemon is what I'm trying to say. ½ ounce of lemon juice, so split sour base, lemon, and lime. On the previous drink, I went with lemon because its base was originally rye, and lemon goes better with rye than lime does. I could try and interject a little funkiness with not really funkiness, a little difference by doing the Here Bengal with the lime juice. I was a little afraid, though, that the greenish color of the lime would mess with the color of the cocktail, so that's principally why I didn't do that. Next up is a ½ ounce of maraschino liqueur. Oh shoot, my maraschino liqueur is in the back room. I think it's on the very top shelf. So my wife is going to go run off and get that.
I'm just going to the back all the time.
Yeah, we're getting the wife some exercise. That's what we're doing this evening. I do have a sweet component for this, which is coconut cream. And the coconut cream is not standard for the Marlin. This is what we are replacing the orgeat with. And so we are going with a ½ ounce. Man, getting this all over the place. Yeah, we don't need any smart comments from David as to what this looks like either. Let's see. Yep, looks like about a ½ ounce. But, oh man, that is, yeah. Well, hopefully those that are coming in to clean the house for us tomorrow will take pity on these mats and maybe they'll clean up the mats a little bit. Because, wow, I'm making a total mess here. ½ ounce maraschino liqueur. Maraschino liqueur is named after maraschino cherries. It is not a cherry liqueur, however. If you want cherry flavor, go to something like cherry brandy or cherry hearing. This is actually a liqueur made from the pits of the cherries. It has a very different flavor, slightly sweet. It is kind of a bartender's friend in the sense that not a lot of home bars make use of maraschino liqueur except for some really specific craft cocktails. And so it's just, unless your bar is at a certain level of sophistication, you don't have Luxardo on it, right? Or you happen to really like the couple of cocktails that Luxardo is necessary for. ½ ounce Luxardo here. There we go, ½ ounce Luxardo. find that amusing because I didn't know what Luxardo really was for a long time. And now I find that my upstairs bar by the kitchen has a bottle of Luxardo, and my downstairs bar has a bottle of Luxardo. So, apparently I must have graduated at some point to something, I don't know what. Half-ounce blue curacao. Wow, I am totally unprepared for this. Hold on a second. Blue curacao is, of course, where we're going to get the blue color for this. This is like vitally important to the cocktail, that we get a blue color. Because if we don't, well, then it doesn't really come across as blue and gold, does it? My wife's going to kill me. Yes, she is. Oh, so...
What do you need now?
So I need the La Favorite Amber Rum Agricole. So this requires two different types of rum, one of which is a rum agricole and one of which is a light rum. And we're going to use the Plantation 3-Star for the light rum, but for the rum agricole, we are going to use La Favorite. This is a Martinique rum. This is amber. It's been lightly aged. This is one of my absolute favorite.
Can't whistle. Referee, unprepared. Penalty to the bartender.
Do I have to take a shot? She threw the flag. She threw the flag. Oh my gosh. Okay, 1 ounce Martinique amber rum. So in case you're wondering, so what makes this so special is that this is a rum that is prepared from sugarcane juice as opposed to from sugarcane syrup or from molasses. So sugarcane is cut, goes into a crusher, and immediately the juice from that goes into the fermentation tank. The juice is rapidly perishable, so if you don't get it in there quickly, you don't get good stuff. What they usually do in order to transport it is convert it over to syrup, which then increases the proportion that is sugar, becomes shelf-stable, and they can do work with it. But the thing about doing it with the fresh sugar cane is that you really get a sense of the terroir, the territory, the land that produced it, the sugar cane itself, and the sugar cane varietals that were used in it, which you don't get from rum that's made from molasses. Because once you get it to the molasses stage, there's nothing left of all of those notes. It tends to be a little grassier because, right, I mean, it's a grass. Sugarcane's a grass. Next up, light rum, 1 ounce. Light rum, we're going to go with the Plantation 3-Star. I thought about going with the Hidden Harbor. I think the Hidden Harbor's Jamaican component is just a little too funky for this. So I don't think there's anything particularly funky about the Los Angeles Rams, although I think they're going to win this evening, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, 1 ounce Plantation 3-Star. It's a little scant ounce, so we're just going to go a little bit more. There we go. Okay, that's it. So we've got lime juice and lemon juice. We've got maraschino liqueur. We've got coconut cream, blue curacao, note the blue color, amber Martinique rum, and a light or clear rum. This is actually kind of straw colored, which might have been dangerous. The Hidden Harbor is much clearer. If you go with something that's too straw colored, you can end up turning your drink green, which would not be very Los Angeles Rams like. We want the bright, vibrant blue. So what are we going to do with this? We're going to throw some ice in here and we're going to shake it. And then we are going to strain it into this glass, and we are going to fill with crushed ice. So I'm going to let that sit there, add the crushed ice to our snifter. There we go. So there's our snifter filled with ice. We're going to shaky, shaky. There we go. Shaky, shaky. Nice and cold. Yes, Amanda, every once in a while I do get something that I shake to the point where my hands get really, really cold. Not to the point of pain. This has been a long-standing discussion with us, by the way.
We
Okay.
have a Gwen.
We have a Gwen! Yay! Not that one. That one has egg white on it. Let's not do that. Let's go with this. Oh, no, that's my travel one. My little itty-bitty travel one. Fine. So I have a bunch of strainers. Deal. Okay, so this gets strained in there with pretty fine strainer. Pretty blue color. Look at that. Okay, it's a little powder blue as opposed to the deep blue that we're looking for, but you know, that's not too bad. Let's let that tamp down a little bit. And we're going to come back and we're going to add some more ice to this. Actually, I'm going to try and mound up the ice a bit. There we go, like such. A bunch of crushed ice on the bar mat. That's fine. And then I moved it. There it is. I moved it to the bar already. Where is it? So this is yellow chartreuse. Not sure how well the yellow is going to come through because it's a pretty pale straw yellow. The other thing I could do was use Strega with this, but Strega has a very anise forward flavor, which I thought would just take us completely out of where we wanted to go with this. So we're going to go with a 1/2 ounce, and I'm just going to pour that over the top. I probably could have used a slightly larger glass and gotten more separation, have the blue down here, and then just like white ice coming up. So we're going to add yellow chartreuse to the top of this. Right, there we go. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. I don't know if you can tell, but it is definitely a yellowish color across the top. And then for the garnish, we have these ram's horns, right? Ram horn, see, yellow ram horn, right? And how are we going to get these in here? I have no freaking idea. I could just lay them across the top. Didn't think about this, right? Matching the glassware to the garnish that you're going to be doing. So, fine. This is going to go in one side. Doesn't really look like a horn anymore. And then we're going to go the other on the other side. Fine, right? Ram's horns, sort of. They should be actually hanging over the edge. They should be like this. That's probably the better way to go with this.
Brooke predicts very sweet.
Brooke predicts that it's going to be very sweet.
Yeah. Amanda says she hasn't felt the cold in a long time because she has her new elevation shaker.
So that goes like that. Then we're going to throw a straw in there. And for the first time tonight, we are going to mention Surfside Sips. That straw is slightly too big, so we are going to go with, oh, yeah, there we go. That's a Surfside Sip straw. So green, clear glass. The other day, Surfside Sips did something which I found kind of amazing. They wanted to demonstrate how strong their glass was. So they took a cocktail glass, set the cocktail glass in front of the camera, and they took one of their straws and went swap, and they shattered the cocktail glass. And their straw was just fine, which I thought was pretty darn amazing. Okay, so straw goes in there. Don't stab yourself on the cocktail picks with the ram's horns.
And Gwen says it's 86.
Yeah. Gwen is not here. Gwen is in Los Angeles, but she's on her way and she's bringing me rum. So there we go. This is the Rams Cup, named after the Los Angeles Rams and Cooper Kupp. Good luck in the Super Bowl, guys. I quite like that drink. Wow. It's got coconut cream in it, which means Star is going to like it. Maybe. Oh, there's a lot going on in that drink. Oh, that's a... Oh, the yellow chartreuse on that drink. Wow. There is a lot going on there. I like that. Oh, this may... I may need to change the name of this and put this on the menu.
It's a very different drink than the here Bengal,
Oh yeah,
which is
completely.
an orange citrusy sweet, and this is a tart, refreshing.
And the Luxardos, this is
Mm-hmm.
one of the best uses of Luxardo. That really works. You can taste the Luxardo, but it doesn't overpower anything.
And it is odd because it is a coconut drink that the coconut
Plays
adds substance,
and
but it
way
it's
supporting
way
role.
supporting role.
Way supporting role.
That's really good.
We've done well there. So, on the basis of the cocktails, if you wanted to bet,
Rams,
I think the
Rams
Rams.
Cup.
Yeah, I think the Rams.
I
Cup.
mean, the Bengal I really like, but the Rams Cup is a keeper. So yeah,
a close game, but
close
ultimately
game, but
the Rams
ultimately
are going
the
to pull it
Rams.
out,
Yeah.
and there's not going to be a lot of doubt, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
the case?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, so it'll be close. So the score might be close, but the game outcome probably not in doubt, right? That would be the basis of our predictions
Based on how we like the cocktails.
based on how we liked the cocktails that I put together today for the game. So there you go. It is now 6:29, so the game's starting in like a minute. So we should say goodbye, good night. Enjoy your cocktails. Enjoy the game if you choose to watch it. Enjoy the Olympics if you choose to watch something else besides the game. And if you don't like sports at all, well, just enjoy your night and enjoy a couple of cocktails. Have some daggone good ones, and we'll talk to you later. It's Lovecraft Cocktails signing off, Quarantiki number 95. See you next week.